Governor Akeredolu joins us virtually from Ibadan in Oyo State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us. From what we heard from you yesterday, it does look like there were some group from Kogi State who are living in that community. And there was an escalation of activities and actions. We'll get deeper into that. But you raised that the federal government was too hasty in its conclusion when it linked that incident at the St. Francis Catholic Church to ISWAP. It does look like they are correct, isn't it?
Well, so, I mean, when I took that point, I was so concerned because I felt the federal government came out too soon. And I said, what evidence did they have? I mean, it's important for us to have the evidence. How did you come to the conclusion that the incident or the dastardly act could be linked to ISWAP? And that's why immediately I came out and said, look, I don't believe this. It's too hasty, and that you need to have concrete evidence. And because I believe that for what the normal practices of ISWAP, they own up to their act, and almost immediately they take credit for the action. And nobody came out in the case of June 5 in Owo to say they were responsible. I felt that was not a great thing to do. That was not a good thing to do, and that was why I challenged it.
How would you describe the attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church? Would you say it was a terrorist attack, or would you say it's an escalation of some actions by those some people who are living in that community?
No, it was a terrorist attack. There's no other way to describe it. But what we found out was that, look, usually even terrorism all over the world, you cannot come from just outside the community and strike and think you'll be successful. So you find locals who are in support and who you can use. And that's why, unfortunately, we discovered that the terrorists probably came into town and lodged in one or two houses, one house that we know for sure, and before they carry out their strike. So it's act of terrorism and no other way to describe it, but with collusion by probably people, I mean, not probably, by one person or two who live within the community.
You identify them as Ebira, some Ebira people. Ebira is a ethnic group or a tribe in Kogi State. What is your preliminary observation on that situation? Has situation gotten bad between the locals and Ebira people in Owo?
No, I don't want to be emphatic on that point, because what I said is being mixed up now. I address issue about the arrest of the what I would call attackers who came to a war, the terrorists came to a war on June 5. And at the same time, I went ahead to address about kidnap incidents that we have had of recent, and I said that Ibira people were probably involved in this, and I said we are going to call a meeting with the Ibira community within Ondo State. We have lived together for too long for these sort of incidences to happen, and that was a separate thing. But it is clear that from what we have, that the terror gang in Okene, all of us know Okene probably, yes, is the heartland of Ibiras. But the terror gang or the terror in Okene were involved in the incident of June 5. What do we make of that? Are they all Ibiras? That is for us to find out. The names will not give us we don't conclude with the names because we can see that a number of them have two names. They either still name so and so he been something, so and so he been something. So the Department of State Security are still working on this. So we must leave that until we come out, or they come out as to the proper location or where they come from before we jump into total conclusion. For me, I know that there's a terror cell in Okene and everybody knows that, and they strike across the country. They strike in Kogi, they strike in Ekiti, they strike in Ondo State. But this terror cell is one that must be confronted and eliminated. But what I am trying to say is that, look, my reference to Ibiras in my, I think it was courtesy visit by Union of Journalists, was as to incidences that happened recently. And I said, no, these are brothers. We have lived together for long. They cannot get involved in this sort of trade. Let them concentrate on their farming, concentrate on trading, rather than getting involved in kidnapping. So that was a different case. Now,
19 days after the 5th of June attack, there was a press conference by Mr. Adeleye, the Amotekun commander in Ondo State. And he did come out to say arrests have been made. He said they pursue them. I'm trying for you to give us an understanding of the effort of the Amotekun, the effectiveness. You and your colleagues in the Southwest region, you came up with this initiative. For the Owo attack, how effective was the Amotekun Corps in the in the arrest of these terror gang?
Well, Amotekun has been most effective in southwestern states and in Ondo State in particular. On this incident, when it happened, Amotekun they were involved in the hot pursuit of the terrorists. And part of what happened was that, look, some of the vehicle they use, they change vehicles, they take vehicles from anybody, jump into it and move on. Amotekun was able to get one of the vehicles, and SIM cards that were used, that were found there, Amotekun had to hand over to the Department of State Security. And we believe that this effort, from what they got, assisted in tracking these terrorists. So that is probably very basic, that look, okay, you must have a clue. We don't just go and move into the bush without knowing where you are going. You won't get a pathway. So I believe that Amotekun's effort was, one, being there when it happened and all purchase of these terrorists. They were able to at least get the vehicle, get some of the SIM cards, which they handed over to the SSS for their own further work. And I want to say that the result of what we have gotten today is the great work that the Department of State Security did, because they went into it, and I was briefed constantly as to what happened. I mean, the man who harbored them in Owo, I was informed of his arrest over 2 weeks ago, but I had a pact with the state security is for me to keep quiet so that they can make more arrests. And even the arrests they made, we knew about that since last week. And our part with them was that, look, we still have 1 or 2 people we are trying to get. So let us still keep it under wrap. So we kept it under wrap until the CDS came out. And I'm sure not with I'm sure he didn't get the buy-in of the director of the SS to make that announcement, because there were still 1 or 2 people that they were trying to get. And we kept quiet. We said, let them conclude their investigation and make necessary arrests before we come out to come and talk about it. But since it has come out, there's nothing to hide again. That's why I won't have to talk about it yesterday.
Okay, now, so we're getting somewhere. So when you and your colleagues came up with the Amotekun initiative, what came into your mind? If you look at the global picture of the event, I mean, I was able to put out a timeline to see how these events went, and we are able to, as citizens, whatever anyone is watching from home, will be able to see how things, you know, culminated before yesterday when the CDS came out. Now, what I'm driving at, and the question I'd like to ask you, is that if it wasn't for the effort, initial and the immediate effort of Amotekun, do you think there will probably be any headway in these arrests?
No, Amotekun takes his own credit, but I am not, I do not deny the fact that the Department of State Security were out and they did tremendous work too. You see, when we have limitation, Amotekun has his own limitation. Let's say Western Nigeria security. Yes, I know that we receive cooperation from Oyo, from Ogun. We can move to any state in Western Nigeria. But when you come to cross-border, you see, terrorism, and it leaves from here, gets to Kogi, Amotekun cannot go there. There's not much. Whatever Amotekun wants to do will face some problem there. So we do not go beyond Western Nigeria. We try to make efforts so that we can have cooperation. But again, one of the problems we face over time, I mean, maybe we'll solve it over time. But for now, we must give credit to the director, to the Department of State Security for their efforts in this particular instance, because they went all out. Yes, the CDS has said it, that they all went, but what I know for sure is that the pathway to getting these people was properly marshaled by the state security, Department of State Security, and from there, they will not just go there. Yes, they carry arms, but they need more serious fire arms to go into their den to arrest them. So they needed the military and probably the police to assist them, but Amotekun cannot go from Ondo to Kogi to help them in this arrest.
All right. So, I mean, we can see the importance of intelligence in all of this. Intelligence led to where we are today, and perhaps the effectiveness of the information gathered. Now, how vulnerable, because there are definitely going to be lessons learned, not only for you as a governor of Ondo State in your territory, but from your other colleague governors within the Southwest. But from what happened in Owo and the subsequent events that led to yesterday, how vulnerable do you think that the forests and the bushes in the Southwest are presently?
No, it's really, really very vulnerable. It's an unfortunate development, and I mean, at least we know that in Southwest we have been making efforts. That's why we said we'll make our forest inhabitable for criminals. We are making efforts, and but the forest is so large, and they know. I mean, these criminals and probably those who are colluding with them know the forest even more than us, or more than our forces now, Amotekun. So we are getting more of the hunters who also know this forest very well. You know, all of us know that secret of the treetops is known to the monkey, and we need to be part of them. So our forest is really, really vulnerable, and these people have is because the forest is vast, so vast that look, only can you cover it. At the end of the day, they're able to hide one place or the other, carry out their nefarious activity. But as we move, we are destroying a number of their cells. And I know Amotekun has been effective in Ondo State in that respect. That look, we have moved and destroyed a number of areas where these activities are going on, but we have not covered everything. And again, as we are moving, people are coming again, and it's an unfortunate. It's most unfortunate as you try to make way or to try and see that you dislodge these people. It is for you to come to the street on road to see trailer loads of people who are coming, and they are going nowhere, and they just drop and move into the forest with arms, ammunition. So why is that? Is that how? It's not migration any longer. It is to us a threat to the lives and properties of our people. So that's why today we have resolved, we will check all these trailers, even when you have cows there or you have food there, because people are prepared to stay under cows and they are covered, they are not bothered. People are prepared to stay, you have beans at the back, you have human being on the other end in tents, and they don't know where they're going. They don't know. They have no relative they are going to meet. It's just that you just want to get at a place and move into the forest. This cannot continue. So as much as we are trying to see that we free our forest of this, I'll call terrorists or bandits, as much as we try to free our forest of these people, they are still coming. So the X-Men...
Let me ask you, Governor Akeredolu. Yeah, sorry, apologies. I mean, some of your colleagues in the Southwest are on high alert because Southwest seems to be somewhat insulated from some of these banditry activities. But recently, with some of the security situation in the country, the atmosphere is charged. Now, there are a lot of lessons to be learned and taken away from here. If there is one tip that you would like to give to your colleagues, I mean, because you have had your hands dirty and you have been very busy in the past days, you have experience now that you can share. What would be that one tip that you would like to give your colleagues in dealing with this kind of situation or preparing their minds for the worst?
Well, what I would say is that we must be alert and encourage our people to say something when they see something. These people they don't come overnight. So intelligence gathering is so important now. It is not going to, we are not going to achieve our aim by just mere power and say, look, we are going to a place, we are going to the forest, we are going to dislodge them. Intelligence gathering is so important. Because if we add people who saw them, for instance, in our come to a place in our there, and people reported that we saw some people moving here, maybe that incident would not have happened. But when you see people who are strange and your people don't come to inform you, there's not much you can do. So the lesson I learned from all this is that intelligence gathering is so important, and that we should not. Yorubas have an adage that if Ikule and what is called death from home, if you are not killed by it, the one from outside cannot come and kill you. We have to be very careful about our neighbors too, those that live with us. Now is the time for us to at least be careful about them.
All right. Governor Akeredolu, I have about 2 or 3 questions quickly. 2 quick ones on this issue of security before we move. I just have about 2 questions on politics before we close. One quick one, you've cleared the air about any possible link in the Ojo, a certain Ojo that could be part of the Kuje attack and all of that. You've cleared the air from a statement from the CPS today. I'm not sure that we need to go into that. Yeah, Idris Ojo. Yeah, I don't think we need to go into that since you've cleared the air. Now, the big question, I'm talking to
Sheon, I think it's important to clear that. Why I had to say this, even why I had to come out to say it, was that I was briefed. You see, when I have my state director who is a gentleman and very effective. I was briefed when Ojo was arrested in his brother's house about last week. He informed me and said one of the escapees, even before they started, he said they have information that some of the escapees are in the state and that they're going to go after them. And when they got this Ojo in his brother's house in Akure, he came and gave him briefing that, look, we got one Ojo in his brother's house in Akure. And because it's the same facility, and if you mix up, I believe it was a mix-up, that Ojo's name was mentioned among those who were arrested for the terrorism we had on June 5 in Owo. No, he was arrested as an escapee and probably kept in the same facility in Akure or anywhere they kept them, because I'm not too sure they were kept in Akure. It's because that is one thing on security ground, I don't know. They won't tell me where they keep them. So they ship them here and there because they can come and attack their facility. So I don't know where they kept them. But it was just unfortunate that it was in the same facility and people just took names and announced that it was one of those that was involved in terrorism. Right. No, it was not.
Yeah, one question down, 3 more to go, and I have less than 3 minutes. I don't know how we're going to do it. Senior advocate, I'm speaking to you as a learner sick, one of the most senior lawyers in the land today. It does look like there has been a knee-jerk approach in resolving this insecurity problem. A lot of people have asked Nigerians to go back to us resolving these insecurity problems using our laws. Now, do you think, or what do you make, or how do we go about it in resolving to have a permanent solution to this insecurity challenge? Can our constitution play a part, or how do we go about it? You are a second-term governor. What do we do exactly? If you can do that for us in a few seconds to give us a solution to this problem.
Nobody is a repository of knowledge to know what solution to this problem will be. But one thing is clear from what we have experienced, from what we gather all over the world. Terrorism will fester if you continue to treat it with kid gloves. And this is what we are doing in Nigeria today. You don't treat terrorism with kid gloves. You don't treat banditry with kid gloves. To me, what other countries have done, if we are to learn from that, then the better for us. You don't take terrorists, you don't bring them as prisoners. If you want to deal with them, deal with them. And I'm sure they will run away wherever they are found. By the time you have dealt with them there, the surrounding will be cleared. And that, for me, is the solution. It's not in the constitution, it's not in any law, but I can tell you, you don't take prisoners of terrorists. If you continue to do that, you won't get anywhere. That's why they will be able to attack PJ and free them.
Governor Akeredolu, we are totally out of time, but let me risk 30 seconds if we can do that. Today you spoke about Muslim ticket, and I have a feeling that you perhaps are saying this because you're an APC governor. You want your candidate, of course, and your very good friend, Asiwaju Tinubu, to win as a candidate of your party. If you were not in the APC, and the other, you have an opposition party go in the same direction your party had gone, in the same faith ticket, would you have said the same thing, knowing full well that you are of the other faith too?
No, I would have said the same thing. If you are listening to my lecture today, I was very clear. I said that religion is not the issue now. We have other issues that should be in the front burner today in this country. Issue of restructuring, issue of rotational presidency, and all of us. I said, look, since 1999, there is an understanding that we move from north to south, rotate the presidency, and that if today we have people who want to deploy what I would call manipulation of our people on religious basis to think that you can change this, then we should not accept it. So for me, it's not because of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you listen to my lecture, I said, if Obi is elected as president, he has, for me, that would be all right. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu is elected, that would be all right. For me, it must come to South. That is the position. And I am saying this,
all right.
You know that as South chairman, as Southwest chairman, we took position on this, that presidency must rotate to South. It's not because of APC. And when you talk about religion, I'm saying religion should have no part to play. Competence, knowledge, and your record, track record should be what to play in this instance. You don't say, I want to ride in a car, and because a blind Christian, he must drive me. And I have a Muslim that is seen very well.
Governor.
So it's not possible.
Thank you so much, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. It's a pleasure talking to you tonight, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much also, Honorable.